The Psych Mindset, creating a mental mindset model. Like most coaches, I've experienced working with athletes that do some things really, really well and some things they could do a little bit better. As coaches, part of our job is to help athletes recognize and understand how they are making decisions and how they can improve the decision-making process. In this video, we delve into decision-making and how athletes can recognize how and when they are making poor decisions and develop strategies to improve their decision-making process. With this model, we use images and levels, and this allows athletes to create a roadmap to have a clear understanding of the decisions they are making and the emotional connection behind them. The use of images and levels is important in this model because our intent here is not to personalize or criticize poor decisions, but rather to create a discussion point with the athlete so they recognize the emotions and the circumstances surrounding the poor decisions. The intent here is to create a common language that is non-threatening and enables the athlete to reflect on the decision in an objective manner. It is important that the athletes can relate to the images you use and that there is a connection between each level that is understood and a pathway that can be developed. As we go through this model, don't feel you have to use the images I have used, but you can use anything else like TV characters or superheroes, as long as your athletes can attach an emotion to that image and create a pathway to get from one level to the next. Level 1, Caveman. The first level we have is a caveman, and what we want is for athletes to come up with words that they feel best describes a caveman. How would a caveman make decisions? How do they think? How do they approach their day-to-day life? By attaching descriptive words to the image of a caveman, we create a discussion point for athletes to attach an emotion to an image and connect that to an action. So common words that we came up with are careless, reckless, non-thinking, unprofessional, and untrustworthy. We want to recognize that cavemen don't really think or plan. They make decisions based on emotions or feelings. And this is where we want athletes to recognize and separate the decision-making process from that emotional reaction. We want to have more structure and planning in our decisions and plan when and how we will do things. I'm sure I'm not the only coach who has had the experience of an athlete who has shown up to a race and forgotten their bike helmet or their bike shoes. This is where we can attach careless and unthinking actions to the image of a caveman. It's a bit careless not being organized enough to make an equipment list and pack your equipment the night before and ensure you have everything before you leave for a race. This would be one example where we can use an image and an action to show how, without planning, we are just letting things roll out in front of us and reacting to them without deliberate thought or accountability for our actions. Level 2, Vikings. From caveman, we move up to Vikings. We recognize that Vikings are a little more organized than cavemen, but they are still reckless and selfish. It's Vikings' short-sightedness and focus on immediate gratification that limits their long-term growth. In describing Vikings, we see words like selfish, reactive, emotional decision makers, poor preparation, reckless, and undisciplined. The key word here is undisciplined. Athletes at this level are competent and capable, but lack the discipline to consistently make decisions that support long-term development. It is this emotional-based decision-making that often leads them away from longer-term improvements. Athletes with Viking-type behaviors fail to reflect on their training or set training goals. These athletes also tend to avoid expanding their skill vocabulary or engage in difficult or challenging tasks where failure is evident. These athletes have a narrow vision of success and tend not to take on challenges where their success is unknown. Like the Viking, these athletes go from one battle to the next, so from one training session to the next training session without any reflection or assessment. It is here where we want the athlete to separate themselves from that Viking mindset and understand that reflecting on past training creates opportunities to plan and develop processes that support continued improvement. It is this level of engagement in your training process that will help you set clearer training goals, understand strengths and weaknesses better, and support continued improvement. Level 3, Spartans. As we continue through these levels, we have moved from cavemen who are non-thinking and reactionary to Vikings who are more organized but still very emotional decision makers and very undisciplined. At level 3, we have Spartans. Spartans are very competent, well-trained warriors, and their success was built on planning, precision, and process. So words we attach to an image of a Spartan might be very disciplined, unselfish, organized, but they can still be a little reckless at times. Athletes that show Spartan like behaviors will set objectives, develop plans, and assess past performances. However, these athletes may also be easily distracted during training sessions that have a technical or tactical objective. They tend to focus on pace times and outcomes as opposed to the intent of the workout. It's that reckless behavior that is also evident during competitions, when they can be easily drawn off their race plan by reacting to their competitors and overextending themselves on one part of the race, only to underperform and not produce their best result. It is planning and process that separates the Spartan from the Viking and the Caveman. However, it's their reckless nature that keeps them from continued improvement and realizing their true potential. Level 4, Romans. On level 4, we have the Romans. It is at this level where we find athletes that are moving away from reactive and emotional-based thinking and decision-making to purposeful and planned thinking. Emotional thinking means we are making decisions based on how you feel or your feelings, and Roman soldiers were legendary for their superior planning capabilities. Some of the descriptive words we come up for Romans are warriors, very professional, very well trained, tactical thinkers, superior planners, and they are aggressive and controlled. But most of all, Romans had a crystal clear vision and the discipline to consistently make decisions in line with that vision. Athletes that display Roman-type behavior understand the importance of planning and information. These athletes understand their capacities and consistently train to improve their weaknesses. They understand the demands of the sport and develop race strategies and tactics to leverage their strengths and defend their weaknesses. Athletes that exhibit Roman-type behaviors make decisions that consistently are in line with their objectives, not just in training or in competition, but also with recovery, nutrition, hydration, their training environment and support, and their lifestyle. These athletes display consistency, discipline, and professionalism and appreciate all the areas that contribute to their long-term success. Level 5, the Ninja Samurai. The final level is that of a Ninja Samurai, and we're referring to those athletes that really are the best of the best. These athletes exhibit not just excellent physical capacities, but are also the athletes who have superior vocabulary of technical skills, understand the importance of tactics and tactical knowledge, and have developed an emotional maturity and emotional intelligence that is well above most of their competitors. These are the athletes who can often influence the outcome of a competition. The Ninja Samurai type athlete exhibits all the traits of these two elite warrior groups. Like a ninja, these athletes are careful, patient, tactical, and talented. And like a samurai, they are disciplined, controlled, calculated, and act with precision. These are the athletes that are capable of consistent top-level performances at the highest levels of the sport. And these athletes are constantly in the mix for podium finishes and are defined by their consistency, professionalism, and sense of community. These are the athletes that know and understand the decisions they make on a day-to-day basis around every aspect must contribute to their long-term goals and be in line with their overall objectives. So here you can see the 5 levels we have gone through in this model. And one of the takeaways we want athletes to recognize is that top-level performance is not just about physical development, but the best performers in the world understand the importance of cognitive engagement as an important part of their overall development. As coaches, we understand that most athletes will start out at level 1 or level 2, and as they mature and have more experience in the sport, we want them to be able to move up to that level 4 or level 5. This is where implementing a model like this into your program can help athletes recognize and identify when they're making poor decisions and create strategies to execute better reflective skills and develop clearer goals. It's developing this consistency and discipline around decision making that helps athletes move quickly through the development pathway. The goal here is to provide our athletes with a structured, progressive template to help them to start thinking more purposefully and with more clarity. To understand that decisions and how they make them will determine their long-term success.